Once upon a time, there was a blue and pink dinosaur, and the blue and pink dinosaur had been living together for a great while now. They had always found comfort and peace. They had always been happy and free from many ailments that other dinosaurs had found to be suffering from. So, one day, the pink dinosaur started to get a little bit sick. She started coughing a little bit, got a little bit of a headache, felt a little weak. Blue Dinosaur was very worried as he always was. And he forced the Pink Dinosaur to see the doctor. And he said, I'll even bring him here. So he went over and got the White Dinosaur, the White Doctor Dinosaur, and had that dinosaur check her out. The news was not what the Blue Dinosaur or what the Pink Dinosaur wanted to hear. Apparently, she had come down with a disease known as Snuffleupagus. And Snuffleupagus was not very good at all. She couldn't live with Snuffleupagus. She needed medicine right away. He said the only medicine that can cure this Snuffleupagus is the great elder vine over in the shady plateau. Blue Dinosaur said, "The shady plateau, the elder vine." He said, what is this, witchcraft?" He was very skeptical. The White Dinosaur insisted, "You need the elder vine from the shady plateau up atop the fiery mountain." Blue Dinosaur gulped. The fiery mountain, shady plateau, sounds like a rough place. He said, "Oh, it's very rough." He said, "I don't have any of that medicine right now. We haven't had a scout small enough to go over there and get some, or a scout brave enough." Blue Dinosaur said, "Well, what do we do?" White Dinosaur said, "Well, we wait. We hope for the best." Blue Dinosaur watched the White Dinosaur leave, and he went back to the Pink Dinosaur. And he laid next to her. He said, "Darling, you're not going to die. You will not be ended by Snuffleupagus." She said, "Well, what if this is it? What if I don't get better and we don't have that medicine?" He said, "Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, darling. You'll be okay." That night, he waited for her to fall asleep, keeping her warm by laying next to her. He decided to take off. He was going to go to the fiery mountain and find the shadowy plateau and bring home the elder vine to make her better. So he started his trek. He traveled all night. Finally, he ended up at the fiery mountain. It was very steep, very hot. It was gurgling with lava. He was very frightened, but he said, "I have to get up to the top there. I have to find the elder vine in the shadowed plateau." So what he did was he climbed, and he climbed, and he climbed. He almost fell a couple of times because he was pretty clumsy and his back hurt. But he went up. He went to the shadowy plateau. Up at the shadowy plateau, he realized that why they called it what they called it, because it was very shadowy and dark and hard to see. And there were tons and tons of vines. He didn't know what the elder vine was. So he prayed out to the great dinosaur and said, "Please help me find and help me have wisdom of this great elder vine that will bring my darling pink dinosaur back from the grasps of Snuffleupagus." Just then, bright light shone from the sun on a specific vine. He said, "Thank you. Thank you so much." And he grabbed the vine. He grabbed as much of it as he could, and he started climbing down the mountain. And he ran, and he ran as fast and as far as he could back home. He got the white dinosaur and he said, "Hey, hey, we need to. I got it." And the white dinosaur was surprised. He said, "You got what?" He said, "I got the elder vine." He was flabbergasted that he was able to, or that the blue dinosaur was able to get this vine in such a dangerous place, and that he was so brave. The white dinosaur took the vine from him and went to the pink dinosaur, made up a concoction and gave it to her, and he said, "We still have to wait, but she should be better in no time." The blue dinosaur took a sigh of relief and knew that he did exactly what he was supposed to do, exactly when he was supposed to do it. He couldn't have been happier, and he always appreciated how brave he was for his pink dinosaur. Ultimately, she got better, and they started living again, happily, in peace, and free of ailments. Once upon a time, there was a blue dinosaur. This blue dinosaur was especially little-footed. All the other dinosaurs seemed to make fun of him. Said, "Ha ha, you have little feet, you have little feet." He always was very insulted. He thought, well, what does it matter if I have little feet? I can still walk. But he was always the last to be picked in games and put on teams and in sports, and nobody seemed to really be his friend. Until one day, he was being made fun of, and he finally said, "You know what? I wish all of you had little feet too." And he ran away. He ran into the forest, and all the kids just laughed, and nobody followed. Poor blue dinosaur was over crying, saying, "Oh, I wish I was normal. I wish I had I wish I had all the characteristics that they had. I don't want to have little feet." Just then he heard some rustling in the bushes, and he hid. He was very scared. He didn't know what it was. And he saw somebody walking as he hid in the bushes with his head on the ground. He saw them walking, and he saw their little feet. He said, "Whoa, they have little feet just like mine." Poked his head out of the bushes, and he saw that it was a small pink dinosaur, just like him. He jumped out and he said, "Hey, what are you doing here?" And she said, "Hey, what are you doing here?" He said, "I asked first." She said, "I don't care. I want to know." And he just kind of laughed. He said, "You know, you're pretty feisty, aren't you?" She said, "Yeah, what about it? I'm spunky too." And he said, "You have little feet." And she said, "Yeah, so do you. What about it?" And he said, "Well, I don't know. Hasn't anybody ever told you that before?" She said, "Yeah, of course." She said, "But I don't care. I have little feet. You know what little feet allows me to do? It allows me to balance on logs. Watch this." She went up and she balanced on this log that was nearby. She said, "I'd like to see the other dinosaurs do that." And he said, "Wow, that's really impressive. Let me try." He found that he could do it too. She said, "See, being different is okay sometimes, doesn't it? We don't have to be the same because we all have different strengths and weaknesses that all make us who we are." Blue Dinosaur found comfort in her words, and he said, "Will you come back with me? I want you to show my friends what you can do." So she went back with him and found all of his classmates and schoolmates and friends, if he could call them that. And he said, "Look at what she can do." She balanced on a log. All the other dinosaurs were very impressed. They said, "Whoa, that's so cool." She said, "Yeah, why don't you guys give it a try?" The green dinosaur tried and fell off. The purple dinosaur tried and fell off. Even the gray dinosaur tried and fell off. Everybody couldn't do it, but they tried and tried and tried. And the pink dinosaur and the blue dinosaur just kind of laughed. They said, "Little strengths in little differences Little strengths and little differences is what we should always remember. Once upon a time, there was a blue and pink dinosaur. They had been walking down this path for a long time. They were going to visit their parents in the Great Valley. Blue and Pink Dinosaur were walking along, and they saw many of their friends, many strangers as well, sometimes stopping to make conversation with people and to observe the sights. It was a beautiful land that they lived in. Ultimately, they had to go through an area that was sometimes a little fishy, and that they were warned about by their parents, by other people along the way. This area was known as Bone Valley. And they had never been through Bone Valley before. They'd always taken another route to their parents, but they were going through Bone Valley this time. And from what they were told, there was a great T-Rex that roamed around Bone Valley, but they had never seen him, and they never knew anybody that had seen him, so they just kind of went along and dismissed the claims of this big T-Rex without a hitch. As they're walking, they get into Bone Valley. Blue Dinosaur says, I have a bad feeling about this. Pink Dinosaur says, no, come on, it's just Bone Valley. All those stories are just tales to keep the kids out of here. We'll be fine. They continued to walk. Blue Dinosaur, aware of everything around him, jumping at the slightest crickle or crack or something falling in the background. Pink Dinosaur said, you're way too worried. You always worry so much. Blue Dinosaur says, well, a wise man prepares for war in times of peace. Anytime things are going good, you still have to be ready. And just then, they heard it. They heard the gigantic roar of a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Pink Dinosaur shuddered and cuddled close to the Blue Dinosaur and said, was that what I think it was? Blue Dinosaur said, I think so. They heard the big pounding footsteps coming up. Boom, 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 boom. They started to run. They said, run, let's go. They're running and running and running, and they can hear the pounding footsteps behind them. Bum, 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 bum. And ultimately, they couldn't outrun the T-Rex. Right? He was gaining on them. They were running faster and faster and faster, the blue and pink dinosaur. The blue dinosaur encouraging the pink one. Come on, faster, we have to go. We have to get out of Bone Valley. But the pink dinosaur had tripped, and she fell. Blue dinosaur immediately stopped and turned around. He stood in front of the pink dinosaur as this Tyrannosaurus Rex came upon them. The blue dinosaur shuddered. He was afraid, but he stood strong in front of the pink dinosaur as she lay there with a twisted ankle. Tyrannosaurus Rex started to come in and take a chomp. The blue dinosaur hit him with his tail and said, you will not come any closer. Tyrannosaurus Rex was mad at this point. He roared a great big roar. Blue Dinosaur roared his tiny roar as he was just a little long neck. So, Blue Dinosaur stood firm against this giant Tyrannosaurus Rex. Tyrannosaurus Rex tried to get around him, get to the pink dinosaur. Blue Dinosaur wouldn't let him. He kept in front of her at all times, and any time the Tyrannosaurus Rex would approach, he would swat him with his tail or beat him with his head. The Tyrannosaurus Rex was starting to get frustrated, and he turned his eyes on the blue dinosaur. The blue dinosaur said, what? You think you're so tough? And he took off running. The Tyrannosaurus Rex ran after him. He was ahead of him a ways. He said, oh, I have an idea. So he went around the hill because he saw a rock that he could drop off the cliff. He said, if I time it just right, I can drop this cliff, or I can drop this rock right off the cliff onto the T-Rex's head. And that's just what happened. He went around the cliff, and the Tyrannosaurus Rex came running around, and he stopped because he could smell the blue dinosaur, but he didn't know where he was. The blue dinosaur pushed with all his might this giant rock. The giant rock hit the Tyrannosaurus Rex and knocked him out. That was the end of it. He started the walk back to the pink dinosaur. He helped her up, and they continued their walk in Bone Valley. Pink Dinosaur never would forget how brave the Blue Dinosaur was and how protected she always felt, despite even the scariest of circumstances. Once upon a time, there was a blue and pink dinosaur. They were there and they were eating and they were living very, very happily together. Till one day there was kind of a shortage of food. And what happened with the blue and pink dinosaur was the blue dinosaur started giving the pink dinosaur a little bit more of his food each day so that she was full, even though he may have been hungry. Now, one of the very, very favorite foods of the pink dinosaur was something called a tree star. She would go bananas over these tree stars. She loved them, loved them, loved them. Now, the blue dinosaur said, okay, even though there's a shortage of regular food here, and there's not very many tree stars, we gotta find a place where there's lots and lots of tree stars. So he told the pink dinosaur one day that he had to go do something with a friend, the orange dinosaur. But instead, he took off in search of tree stars. What he did was he traveled. He traveled very, very far and wide looking for these tree stars. Finally, he came to a place known as the Great Valley. The Great Valley was a place world renowned for having lots and lots of tree stars. So, the blue dinosaur walked into the Great Valley. He looked around, and there were tree stars everywhere. He couldn't believe it. He said, oh my gosh, my pink dinosaur would love these tree stars. She would love to live here. So what he did was he went and he talked to the elder of the Great Valley. He discussed moving there with his partner, the pink dinosaur. He said, I will do anything, great elder. I will do anything if you let me move here and live in peace. The elder sensed that the blue dinosaur had a good heart. He said, okay, you can move here. Go get your pink dinosaur. And he said, okay, thank you, great elder. Can I bring her a gift of enticement also? The elder smiled and said, yeah, go ahead. So the blue dinosaur packed up a bunch, not a bunch of tree stars, as many as he could carry in his mouth. And he walked the great trek back to where he lived and where his pink dinosaur was. Ultimately, he delivered, well, she saw him, and ultimately he delivered a big abundance of tree stars, and she was overjoyed. She couldn't believe it. She said, where did you get all of these delicious tree stars? He said, oh, from somewhere. And she said, well, where were you all day? He said, oh, somewhere. He was smiling as she ate. She said, don't you want any? He said, no, you eat all of them. I brought them for you. After she was done eating all the delicious tree stars and she was full, not no longer hungry, but full, he said, let's move. Let's go to this place. Let's run far away from where we already live. Go live in paradise with the elder dinosaurs in the Great Valley. She said, we'll never get into the Great Valley. What are you talking about? He says, I've already made all the arrangements. We can leave today. So they packed up all their stuff, started the trek to the Great Valley. Once there, the pink dinosaur saw all the tree stars, all the delicious food. She shouted with glee. The blue dinosaur was so happy. He's always wanted to make her very, very happy. These tree stars living in this place might do just that. Once upon a time, there was a blue and pink dinosaur. They were walking along one day in a meadow. The pink dinosaur stepped on something and said, "Ow! Ow! What's wrong?" The blue dinosaur asked. She said, "There's something in my foot." He said, "Let me have a look-see." So she put her foot up to him. He looked around and he couldn't really see anything. He said, I don't know what you see. Or I don't know what you feel. There's nothing there." And as she walked on it, she felt it. It hurt, it hurt, it hurt. Every step she took, it hurt. She experienced this for months and months and months. Too long to count. She had been in pain with her foot. There was nothing there, and there was nothing that the white doctor dinosaurs could do for her. Nobody could figure out why she was in pain with this foot after she stepped on what she stepped on. She was very unhappy because she couldn't go walking and running and playing like she used to. She had to stay home most of the time because her foot wouldn't allow her to get out there and walk. The blue dinosaur was pretty disappointed sometimes. He wanted to go out and play and do things like they used to, but he knew that she needed him. And you know what? While he was staying in and tending to his pink dinosaur, the blue dinosaur started to develop an issue too. He started to go and have pain in his knees because he was laying down and sitting down for so long with the pink dinosaur. So he was in pain too, and he ultimately found himself not being able to do as much as he wanted to do anymore, not being able to walk around and move around like he used to. And he experienced this for months and months and months also. Blue and pink dinosaur were both in a lot of physical pain. They couldn't do anything that they used to do anymore, and they had all of these things that they wished they could do, but they couldn't. They started to get grumpy, didn't want to hang out with friends, didn't want them to come over, didn't want to do really anything aside from just be miserable. But you know what? Even though both of them were in pain, both of them were suffering, they stuck it out. They found each other. They found happiness with one another and comfort with one another. They said, you know what? There's no one I'd rather be in pain with more. They had to find something that they could both do. So what they started doing was they started stargazing. Every night, because they slept most of the day because of their pain, every night they were awake, they would look up to the sky and see what shapes they could make out with the stars and see what little patterns and things they could see. Over the years, they became experts with these different things, and it was so cool, and it was so fun for them. They just absolutely loved it. So despite the pain and the heartache and the hardship and the losing of friends and everything that they experienced, they knew they were going to experience that at some point. But they just had to find other things that would satisfy them until they could get back to who they were and what they were, if that would ever happen. Otherwise, they would create new selves for themselves, and they would be happy and content just being with one another. Once upon a time, there was a blue and pink dinosaur. They had been together for many, many years, and they had gone to very, very many events together. But the blue dinosaur never enjoyed going to do anything. The blue dinosaur was pretty grumpy and didn't really like other dinosaurs. Well, the pink dinosaur would say, "Hey, let's go to the pool," or "Hey, let's go to the valley." She'd invite him to all these places. He never wanted to go, but he always did it for the pink dinosaur. One day, Pink Dinosaur was really frustrated and said, "You don't ever want to do anything, you know that?" And he said, "No, I always want to do stuff if it's for you." And she said, "Yeah, but you need to do stuff on your own. You need to get out there and do what you need to do." And he said, "Yeah, but this is who I am. This is what I like to do. I like to be a homebody and just kind of hang out. I don't always have to go out and eat with our friends or go to the watering hole and talk and do all of that because I value my time alone." And she said, "Well, you gotta stop that." And he said, "No, you gotta stop that." She said, "No." And he said, "You know what? Why don't we go and find some friends and we'll play charades?" She said, "What?" He knew that charades was her favorite game. He said, "You heard me. Let's go find our friends and we'll play charades." She says, "You're inviting these people, these dinosaurs, over to play charades? You don't like to do that. You don't like to do anything." And he said, "You know what? This is what I want to do." She said, "Okay." She found some of her friends and they played charades late into the night and everything was good. Once upon a time, there was a blue dinosaur who had a big crush on this pink dinosaur. And he said, "Oh, the special day of romance is coming up." He said, "What can I do to show her how much I care about her?" He thought for a long time. He tried to come up with all these different ideas, and he couldn't just pick one. He said, "You know what? We're going to do them all." So on this very special day, what he ended up doing was he got a big bunch of balloons. And balloons back then were made out of slime and skin and all kinds of gross stuff, but they still floated and people generally liked them. He said, "Okay, I got balloons and now I need something sweet." So he went around and he found some giant coconuts and he said, "Oh, these will be great. These giant coconuts will be super delicious and she can make anything that she wants out of them." He said, "Okay, I got my initials here. I'm going to give her the coconuts and I'm going to give her these balloons." He said, "Oh, flowers, flowers. Yeah, I need some flowers." So he went and he found the biggest, best flowers that he could possibly find. And he went over, packaged all this stuff up into a nice little package. He brought it over to the pink dinosaur and he said, "Hey, how you doing?" He was trying to be cool, but he wasn't very cool. He gave her this package, and she said, "Oh, that was so nice of you. Thank you so much." She was very kind and very sweet. And he said, "Hey, do you want to go do some other stuff? Maybe have some fun today?" She said, "Okay, what did you have in mind?" He said, "Oh, let me show you." So the blue dinosaur took her on the best trip of her life. She was out there ice skating on the frozen ponds, and she was out there rolling down the mountain of dirt, and she even went up to the mountain and she started skiing or snowboarding down the mountain of snow. There were so many fun events together that they did today, she didn't know where to start or where to stop. What an amazing day it was. To close it out, Blue Dinosaur had prepared a meal. Now, they ate a bunch of different trees and things like that, right? Different bushes and stuff. But he saved for weeks all these different special delicacies, these special bushes of berries and fruits and leaves, and just very, very delicious food. What he did was he made her plate, he served her, he made sure she had everything that she needed. He sat down with her. They prayed to the great elder dinosaur, thanked them how much, thanked them for how much he provided for them, and all the special things that they could do together. It was such a good day. Pink Dinosaur will remember that day for a long time because the blue dinosaur surely has future plans for another romantic date. Once upon a time, there was a blue and pink dinosaur. They did everything together. They were best friends, and they lived happily in their little cottage down on Dinosaur Farm. One day, when they were out eating, there was a great tremble on the earth, and it split the earth in two, and the pink and blue dinosaur were separated. They looked far and wide for a place to go back, forth, and find each other. But they couldn't find anything. It was split for as long as they could see and as long as they could walk. So eventually, as night fell, they stopped trying, and they just sat by the cliffside and looked at one another. The blue dinosaur noticed that the pink dinosaur was falling asleep. He let her sleep, but he was restless. He couldn't sleep. So what he decided to do, he said, I have to go and I have to fix things. I have to get back to my pink dinosaur. So what he ended up doing was traveling all night. Finally, he found a tree, a really, really big tree, and it was near the ravine. He said, oh my, if I could simply push that tree over and get it down, I could use it as a bridge. So he went up to the tree, he jumped on top of it, or on the side of it, tried to push it over, and it didn't move. It was a very big tree. And he looked around far and wide for anyone to help him, but everyone was asleep, and he said, I can't wait until morning. I just can't. So he went back to the tree and tried a couple more times. He still couldn't do it. He said, with all my might, I'm going to knock this tree over to get back to my pink dinosaur. So with all his might, he slammed into the tree one more time, and it shook. He was disappointed. It hadn't fallen. He felt defeated, and as he began to walk away, the tree began to fall, and it fell right where he wanted it to. And he said, Eureka! Oh, now I can go to the other side. So he went across this tree bridge he had made. He was so excited, and he was going to find this pink dinosaur. He was looking for her, looking for her. He was looking for where he was. Now, he asked different people, different other dinosaurs, the pink dinosaur, another pink dinosaur, a purple dinosaur, an orange dinosaur. He asked all these people where this area was, where his pink dinosaur was still sleeping. But he couldn't find her. He said, okay, I need some rest. I'm going to try again in the morning. He woke up. He again asked. He asked the black dinosaur and the pearl dinosaur and the diamond and the gold dinosaur. All these dinosaurs didn't know what he was talking about. He said, surely she's eating somewhere. He said, where's the best place to eat? People told him, well, there's a place down by the bayou. He went there, found somebody there. He said, well, there's a place by the marsh. He went there, and at the marsh, they told him, well, you can go to the watering hole. He searched, and he searched all of these places, and he couldn't find her. He started to worry if something had happened to her. But he kept trudging on, kept looking in all the different places he possibly could to find his pink dinosaur. And finally, he was stumbling across, sad, alone. He said, I'm just going to go back to the ravine. Maybe she somehow got to the other side. He poked his head out of the forest to look into the ravine, or to look into the area with the ravine. He saw his pink dinosaur laying there, waiting for him to show up from the other side. So he snuck up on her, really sneaky like, He surprised her. Found each other once again. They vowed that nothing would ever keep them apart as long as they both shall live. From then on, no matter what volcanic eruptions or earthquakes or storms they faced, they knew that they would do it together.